All right, all right, all right. And welcome to the Amputee podcast. We have at least one of your hosts here, Eric Quander, but everybody calls me Mr. Q. And welcome to the show. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of that Midland we were playing. Warming up to the show. I was getting a few things done technically. I think I've got to turn that off now. Down in the air. Can everyone hear me clearly? Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, excellent, excellent. And so we have tonight with us, we're looking to add my co-host, Miss Chef T. She should be joining us shortly. Actually, I think it might be in private chat. Oh, that's Jay logging on. And here we are. And now I want to actually go back and check my stream to make sure. Is there any reverb or bounce back that you gentlemen are hearing?
No.
Sounds clear?
We're all clear.
And if let's start off by you gentlemen introducing yourselves. And let's start with you, Casey.
Casey Peretti, Baloney.
We can't hear you right now.
No.
Jay, can you hear Casey?
I can.
I can't
You
hear
can or
anyone.
you can't?
Let's see here.
I can hear you, Casey.
Okay. Well, that's all that matters, right? We'll just carry.
One moment. One moment. Speak now, sir.
Okay.
Casey?
Can you hear me?
No, one
Right.
moment. Your sound is not coming in through to me. One moment. Oh, I have to change the mic setting. One moment. Yeah, I understand. Now, can you hear me at all now, sir? Or can I hear you? Right?
I hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you perfectly. Excellent.
All
Thank
right.
you. Change that mic over there. Again, welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to have some more people, I'm sure, stopping on through. We're just kicking things off. But I wanted to start off by each of you gentlemen introducing yourselves tonight. Casey, please begin, sir.
Back to me, Casey Peretti. I've been an amputee since 1985, and I've had some interesting jobs since I've lost my leg. I've been a pro skater for Team Rollerblade. I had my own inline skate team, toured the country for 10 years, did schools to NBA halftime shows, ended up jumping into the entertainment world as an actor, got picked up as a stuntman on a movie called Starship Troopers back in 96.
One of my top five movies of all time.
Pardon me?
Starship Troopers is in my top 5 movies of all time.
It was a fantastic movie to work on, to say the least, but I love it too.
Yeah, but please continue.
And so I've been doing stunts since really 95. I did a video for Alice in Chains called Rooster.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And then I got an interview to do Starship, and I kind of rewrote the scene that they were doing with equipment that I could build, and kind of got known for that. Got known that I could run faster than most of the able-bodied stuntmen and actors because I overcompensated.
Yeah.
And have been doing that ever since, as well as building my own equipment and my own prosthetics for, in conjunction with some prosthetists. But we do a lot of our own design, and we've built a lot of different stunt legs for myself, for other people, as well as breakaway stunt arms for performers who we needed.
Wow. Fascinating stuff. And what were you doing prior to doing all this? Focusing on the skating?
Before I became a stuntman, I was a full-time skater. And before that, when I got hit, I was on a scholarship for basketball. And I kept sports in my life, and I ended up hooking up with Flexfoot and a group called Cat Cam Sports back in the 80s, and Arthur Finiston, John Sabelich, and Tom Guth. And Tom Guth in San Diego was making my legs back then. And then I just wanted to do things. So I ended up skating with a guy named Mark D'Amico. And then he got me on one skate, met somebody on Team Rollerblade. They said, why aren't you skating on two skates? So I started skating on two skates, and we started building legs that could handle the extreme forces that you have in skating. And then it just kind of rolled on.
I mean, brilliant, man. I mean, that is intense right there. That's damn cool. Jay, introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Jay Holman. I've been an amputee only since June of 2020. And I'm an air traffic controller. Now I'm the air traffic manager at a fighter base in Colorado. Been playing rugby for many years and motorcycles. Trying to return to playing rugby as soon as I can get myself to running reasonably decent.
Oh, that's all right. I was a rugby player myself in college.
Good times.
Yeah. What position you play?
I play in the pack, so I've always played hook or prop.
I was prop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a right prop for 2-3 years. Yeah, but then I moved over to lacrosse my senior year. Yeah. Yeah. It was nice. It was nice. I enjoyed it, but I was acting, and in lacrosse I started to get my teeth knocked out. So I mean, in rugby. So I said, if I want to be an actor, I better try to keep some of these teeth. And so I changed.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's all right. An air traffic controller. What we're talking about tonight, guys, first of all, again, thank you guys for joining us. What we're talking about and trying to explore is, I don't know how active you gentlemen are in those Facebook groups with all the amputee groups. But we do see, and it's totally normal, a lot of depression, shut-inness, down in the dumps. Depression is one aspect of being a human being, first of all, and then perhaps that experience is intensified when one finds themselves becoming an amputee. And like I'd written, that soon after you get your leg off, I know you're sitting there in that hospital bed, and each of you gentlemen had this moment too, and that's the first thing we'll talk about. That moment where you're saying, okay, I've lost my leg, what now? Because you weren't anticipating using your leg, perhaps, or perhaps you'd been sick for a while and knew that eventually that leg would have to go and you tried to save it. Whatever the circumstance is, we're talking about those moments when you wake up and your leg is not there, and that sense, that first second of what am I going to do now? Jay, what was that moment like for you back in June of 2020? You married man, first of all, because that counts. You married, got children?
Yeah, I'm married. I'm on my my second marriage. I have 2 children from my first marriage. But yeah, I'm married. And my wife Lisa has been great. I got hit by a car. The gal wasn't paying attention. She drove off the road, and instead of panicking, or instead of stomping on the brakes and sliding to a stop, she panicked and turned back into the road and just cleaned me off the motorcycle. But yeah, it's pretty surreal. I've crashed a lot of motorcycles, so I was semi-proficient at that. But sliding through the ditch, I looked back and my right foot was spinning around, and I thought, well, that's really bad. So that was on the 7th, and the 8th was kind of a blur. And they told me, look, we really can't fix this without years of pain. And I have an uncle who is a surgeon, and he recommended, yeah, Jay, just have it taken off. So we made the decision, my wife and I, and it was taken off on the 9th, and I was home on the 12th.
Wow.
Literally like 4 days, I was back home.
Wow.
So yeah, quick adjustment. And how old was I? I'm 50. I'm about to turn 58. So what was I, 56 or 57? Still a lot to do.
Yeah.
And in my line of work, I can't be on any painkillers. I can't take on any drugs. So it was wean myself off the gabapentin and the painkillers as fast as I possibly could, just so I could return to work.
Yeah.
And
I didn't really experience any pain. Surprisingly enough, I didn't even leave the hospital with painkillers. I told I was in the hospital. I said, keep them. They gave them to me, I think, that first morning when I woke up. But then I told them, I said, oh, no, I don't do drugs, man. So keep that stuff. I'll deal with it.
Yeah. 3 weeks. What did I do? Maybe about 3 weeks. And then it was like, okay, I gotta get rid of this.
Yeah.
And then gabapentin, I'd read all kinds of horror stories about.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Gabapentin, so I didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So.
But so when you wake up, okay, so you knew that leg was coming off. You're below the knee, right?
Yes.
You knew that leg was coming off. Tell us about. We all understand that process of making that decision. Okay, it's got to come off. But when you wake up and it ain't there no more, what were you feeling? What were your fears that you were dealing with, maybe?
Well,
for me, let me start with me. I told my wife, I said, you didn't sign up to get married to no man with no one leg. And so if you want to get going and get a man with 2 legs, I understand that. Because I didn't know how I would feel if my wife had lost her leg. I don't know how I'd feel. So yeah. I put that out there because I'm of the mind, I like to kind of know my playing field as I'm going into battle. So if I was going to do this thing on just me, I had to figure that out. Luckily, my wife stood beside me throughout that process. And it all still comes down to the individual. You can't determine what someone else is going to do. You got to make that decision for yourself. I'm not going to be in this chair. If I'm able to, I'm going to get up. What was that process like for you? That was one of my big motivations, just to keep, okay, I don't have time to be messing around.
Yeah, much the same. I have shit to do. So
yeah, man,
dealing around with feeling sorry for myself and
right. What do you
about it?
When I see those folks online, and see that's what this show was started because I'd just seen it and it frustrates me. But then what I've learned is that it's not about the amputation. And that's what I'm trying to communicate through this show. Whatever issues or problems you have that you think are strictly because of your amputation, that is not the truth. Whatever issues you're dealing with may have been intensified because now you can't run, literally. You literally can't run away from yourself. You're going to sit and you're going to deal with yourself. And so that's why I look at my amputation as a big blessing. Luckily, I had done a lot of the groundwork previous to the amputation to where I knew I was going to be all right, no matter what. I was going to be fine, and I was going to figure this out. Come back to you, Casey. Tell us about those first moments when you woke up, man. Now, here you are. You used to using your body.
Right. So I was 19 when I lost my leg. And I think the first thing it took about 10 days of multiple surgeries for the doctor and an airplane flight. Like I moved hospitals and everything. And I first thing is I felt lucky to be alive because I got hit by a car and I was crushed in between two cars on a highway. So I was hit by a 1972 Ford LTD going about 55 plus miles an hour on a highway while I was pushing a 1969. God, what was that? It was you're asking me to go back so many years.
That
it was like a
LTD.
Camaro. The LTD hit me, and I was pushing a 1969 car, and that we fixed up, had a big block in it. We were out racing, and I got crushed and pinned in between the two cars at about 55 miles an hour. The guy who hit me was passed out, but this was 1985, and it was a little after midnight in Carson City, Nevada, small town, no cell phones. The car behind the car that hit me was this young girl, probably 21, 22. And then there was an EMT behind her. And so he said, go call for an ambulance. He put tourniquets. I severed both arteries in both legs, so I would have bled out in under 4 minutes. And he had tourniquets on in the first 30 seconds. I was in the hospital in under 15 minutes from when they made that phone call. And so I just kind of looked at everything. When I woke up 3 days later in intensive care. And even at that point, I knew that I was lucky just to be alive. And I was like living on a second chance already. Dang. So my mom didn't like the hospital. She didn't like the surgeon in Carson City. She had me flown to UC Davis, which saved my knee. I had a great surgeon. And when they took my leg, it was, they're like, we're going to try and save it. I'm looking at my leg and I'm missing part of my bone. It's all metal fixators. It's open wounds. And I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to walk on this leg again. Why aren't you taking it? And then a graft burst. They had no more grafts to do. They used all my arteries. They rushed me in. They took the leg. And when I woke up, I had so much infection in that lower leg that when I woke up, that's the best I had felt since I'd been hit. And my moment, I think, came even before they took it, was that, I'm lucky to be alive and I'm just going to keep living. And I literally within a day, I was telling all the nurses, because I didn't have any friends there because we flew a couple 100 miles away. I was telling everybody that I'm going to do triathlons and that's going to be my recovery. And they're like, sure. Yeah. And I don't think they believed me, but within, I think 11 months, that next August, I did my first triathlon.
Damn.
And so I'm 19 years old. I just went after it.
You didn't know. You didn't know.
I didn't know any better. And I was just super lucky. In 1984, I don't know if you guys know who Van Phillips was, but he came out with the first flex foot. And that radically changed everything about what we do on prosthetics, was those full carbon fiber foots. And so my real first leg was a Mod 3 carbon fiber foot from Flex Foot. And I was able to run. I mean, I was really able to run on those. And I went right back to playing basketball and all of that. And I kind of never looked back, and though I have to say there were moments, of life that hit me hard down the road. I still was just a kid, and I went back to college. I had girlfriends dumped me. And all these things, when you're young and a teenager, seem like the end of the world. And I think that made them seem like the end of the world even more. But I don't remember any of that, I remember when I look back and the things that I do remember, are all the good things. I remember the first time I went on a road trip and I forgot to bring all of my leg stuff with me because I basically forgot I was an amputee. And to me, that was like a great moment in my life. It's like, okay, doesn't really matter. And I went on the road trip anyway, and I just made it work. Didn't go back, didn't get anything, just made it happen. And I kind of think that that's been the whole impetus of my being an amputee.
Jay, when you went back to work, now you'd already been working you know, wherever it was. How long after amputation did it take you, first of all, to get back to work? And then what was those first days like, you know, when the workers are seeing you without your leg or with your prosthetic on? Tell us about that part of the journey for you.
Well, I was ready for my FA physical in 6 months. And you have to have a SOTA, and a SOTA is what a SOTA agreement with the FAA is, demonstrated ability, so that you can still get up and walk, because I have to be able to get up, walk around, and see out of all the windows. It's required. And same thing for a pilot. I am essentially on a flying physical as an air traffic controller. You know, it really wasn't that bad. A lot of questions, but I came to work and just did the job. You know, I'm just kind of modified a little bit.
Also, how have you had to modify?
Really, no, I'm modified, and that, you know.
Oh, you're modified, right?
He was modified. He became.
I'm modified. You learn how to use that spring. Casey's talking about the flex foot. I'm wearing a flower flex foot.
Fill hour.
Fill hour. Yeah.
I'm getting my first flex foot. Well, I'm going to be fitted for it on the 26th. Yeah, the 26th of this month, because I'm getting a whole new prosthetic now. They say it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, they're really, really wonderful. I can do everything. I'm not very proficient at running yet, and I'm trying to go back to the spring season and play with my my rugby team. But we'll see how it goes. The Marauders would love to have me back. I was not fast to begin with, being forward. So if I can play, great. I'd love the opportunity to break my nose a couple more times.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. And getting back into the sports world. So, Casey, you've been behind some tremendous breakthroughs in that entire skating subculture. Tell us a little bit about the role you're playing as far as inspiring other amputees and differently able people to get out there and do some stuff.
You know, the role that I try to play, you know, one is I just do what I do and let the chips fall where they may. And hopefully people find inspiration from it. And I know some have, and I know some have been like, why do you do that? I think really what I try to do in my life as an amputee for the amputee community is more, I try to do a lot of one-on-one outreach for people. Like if I see someone I can help, then I try to help them in any way I can. And I'm not sure where that came from, but it happened early on just because I was so hands-on in what I wanted and needed for my lifestyle, that if I saw somebody who wasn't getting what they needed for their lifestyle, I'd do what I could to help them and to step in. And like today, I met a guy. We met online. He was driving through Santa Barbara. He's a new amputee as well, and he wants to get back to snowboarding. And his prosthetist gave him a foot with a hydraulic ankle, which you can't snowboard on. And so I've got, if you look over here, I've got all those are boxes of prosthetic feet and components that I've acquired over the years.
That's all right.
And so I made him I had an old Renegade that fit him, and I got his sizes, and I made him a foot, showed him how to attach it to his leg so he can snowboard on it this season and try to get back on the slopes. And I really try to do that kind of, the macro stuff happens on its own, and I have that path that I'm trying to do as well that we can talk about. But for me, it's kind of that micro thing where I go and I try to, if you can make a difference in somebody's life and really impact it and get them on that track, then they make the difference for the rest of their life.
That's right. You teach them how to
kind of,
yeah.
and that's kind of where I think if everybody kind of tried to do that, then the macro would just take care of itself. And the micro, if everybody's kind of being busy little bees doing their own thing, helping people, learning from other people, which is all really easy now. You know, when I lost my leg, there's no internet.
Yeah.
There was, and I wanted what I wanted, and I wanted the best that I could find. And I went and I took all the magazines from my prosthetist office, and I called everybody on the phone.
Too.
I sent letters. And I went after, and I'm like, and that's how I found the CAD Cam group, is I called them on the phone in Miami, and I'm like, hey, I'm this 20-year-old kid, played basketball, and I want to do sports, and you guys look like you're doing interesting stuff. And they flew me to Miami to play on their basketball team. And that's kind of how I met a ton of people in the beginning. In fact, it's pretty much how I met everybody. I think on the flight out, I met the guy who got me into inline skating, Mark. We were on the same flight, and we talked on the way out. We were going to the same event. He introduced me to Tom, who made my leg for 15 years. And, it was just kind of, I just saw that as that's what you do. When I was in the hospital, great example is my father worked for the governor of the state of Nevada. And unbeknownst to me, the governor of the state of Nevada that he worked for had lost his leg in Vietnam and was a below knee amputee. So my father had passed away before I lost my leg. But when I'm in the hospital, I get a visit from the ex-governor of Nevada. And I'm, kind of like, why are you here? And he's like, I'm a below knee amputee. And to me, that was like a huge moment, I think, in that, all right, I've known this man my whole life. I've known who he is. I've seen him around, and I never once knew he was an amputee. And I saw how successful he was. And so to me, I think that was my blueprint. It's like, well, there's nothing you can't do. You just got to go and do what you want to do.
Still do it. Yep. And that never changed from the time before you had your leg and even afterwards. That doesn't change. So that's what I try to tell other amputees. If you're not going after what you want, it has very little to do with your leg.
Right. And
you say what there?
Oh, and if you're not going after what you want, you're not going to get what you want.
That's right.
Because they're not going to give it to you.
No.
When I came to Los Angeles, as many people do, wanting to be an actor and wanting to get in the business, I wasn't fearful at all. So like yourself, I would get on the phone, go through the trades, get on the phone, and you'd be surprised who you get on the phone. I met so many people. My career went so far just because I picked up the phone. And hey, I'm calling. This is me. This is who I am. So even after when I got my leg off, I was still doing that. And the hospital, I get the magazines, just like you do. You get the trades. You call every name that you read. I find them and I call them. Hi, I'm this. I do this. I do that. What can I do to help you? This is what I'm looking for. So you can't be afraid to go after what you want for in your life there. Jay, I am happy to let you know, sir, on the 26th of this month, I just got my confirmation today. I take my first glider lesson.
Really?
Yes, sir. I'm going to get that glider license. Yes, sir. I'm determined. I'm going to make that a goal for me to get that this year.
You will really enjoy it. Everyone I know that's into soaring just loves it.
Yeah.
Super therapeutic.
I saw a video in it. Just
as a controller, I hate them things.
Those what?
As an air traffic controller, I hate them things.
Why is that?
Because you're a pain in the ass.
Because it's not an airplane. You don't have to have a pilot's license.
It's a kite with a person in it.
Right. That's what I
if I tell you to get out of the way, you can do it at about 50 knots, and that's it.
And that's it. Well, I saw it.
You will love it.
Video of it.
Wonderful.
And I had seen it, throughout my life. You see it, but you don't think about it. Anyway, for some reason, I stopped on a YouTube video, and man, I found myself looking at this damn thing about 10, 15 minutes. And then towards the end of the video, they showed the guy who was actually flying it, and Lord knows he was a left knee, below the knee amputee. I said, oh, that's my sign. I better be there. I called them up the next morning and signed up. That's how you do it. So you got to take those chances and live the life that you want to do.
I have a story. My wife's right behind me. I don't know if whether I ever tell this. Do I want to tell them this? I've been road racing motorcycles forever, and I road raced an Aprilia RSV 1000. And during the start of COVID, I actually did not want to road race in the first event because I didn't want to go to the hospital. And we crash pretty often road racing motorcycles, dragging your knee on the ground. Yeah. So my friend Joe and I were just going to go watch. And we were going to ride the back way down to Colorado Springs, below Colorado Springs, to go to Pikes Peak. And that's when the gal hit me with her car. So trying to avoid going to the hospital, I got sent to the hospital. So been road racing motorcycles for many years. My wife and I go up to Lookout Mountain in one of my British cars, and we're watching these hang gliders fly around. And I have this big smile on my face, and I turn to Lisa like, hey. And she said, no. Absolutely fucking no. You do enough stupid shit.
I love that. But you thought about it, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
Gliders aren't expensive at all.
No, they aren't. They run about 8,000, I think, on the cheap end.
Yeah.
Because I looked at some of those prices when I'm looking up to buy one of those gliders that I'm actually going to get. I like to know, like I said, I like to see the playing ground before I get there so I can get an idea of how much money I'm going to have to get one of them suckers. Yeah. Now, Casey, what's next for you, man? What this stunt work is incredible, first of all. I understand the amount of time and effort it takes to put together a film project. I just finished 2 national commercials this year, which I'm really excited about, and they're airing now. And
I'm excited too.
Yes, yeah. I'm pretty.
My first 3 jobs were national commercials, and my first job, that commercial ran for 5 years, network TV every day.
There, man.
And I'm like, oh, this is like the greatest job in the world.
Well, you ain't got to do it once, and then you just sit back.
You work for 6 hours and you just sit back.
Yep.
Yeah. What's next in this? I got a couple things going on, but in the stunt world, I am kind of melding. I'm bringing in my whole history here and backgrounds and putting them all together. But I'm working on a project where we're making breakaway horses that you can do horse falls on that are mechanical. So you're not actually on a real horse, you're on a horse that's mechanical. And for some of the realism and some of the joints and everything, I'm actually, going through in the next week or two, I'm going to go through 3 giant containers with a bunch of prosthetic knees in them that they're just going to junk. And I'm going to reuse all of those in these horses for their joints, because it's the best way to make a realistic looking knee joint or ankle joint. And they're super durable and they're super lightweight. So that's kind of in the stunt world. I'm kind of transitioning out of always hitting the ground and rigging, building, and coordinating.
I understand.
And then in the amputee world, we actually we launched a little company. Up there goes my reflector bouncing the light in.
You can put a link in the chat room if you like.
Was that? Oh yeah, I will. I'll do that. But we make sleeves. Because I had a guy make me my liner system out of silicone, and then he retired, and then nobody's really making what he made. And when I was building my stunt equipment, I worked in a prototyping shop, and they specialize in materials, polyurethanes and silicones, and so when he retired and there wasn't anyone really to fill his boots, I just started making them myself. And so we've been making them for about 7 years, and we've come up with some sleeves that are ultra sheer, very thin, maybe a fourth of the thickness of regular sleeves, and they're reinforced silicone and they're repairable, which is one thing that I love having, is that if I'm on set, on location,
Right.
which is all I work now, if I tear a liner or put a hole in it, I can fix it in if I'm in my hotel room, I can do it in an hour and have it back to normal. But usually I carry 3 of them with me, and if I pop one, I just put on another, and then I'll repair them overnight, and they're as good as new, which I think is a huge advantage. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm gonna start doing videos, but let me see. Let me grab. I have it somewhere here. I had it. Oh, here it is. So I'm right now thinking that everybody's got all these old prosthetics, and so like I'm gonna start doing videos on how to repurpose your old feet. And so here's an old foot I had for stunts, a talus, and I rebuilt it onto an inline skate carriage, so it cuts down the weight by half. And so I'm going to start showing everybody on YouTube videos how to make, how to remake your old prosthetic into something that enhances your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because it's just we as an amputee, you're going to end up with all these different feet eventually, and it's like, what do you do with them? And so
that's what my friend was asking me today. What are you going to do with your old foot? Yeah.
You can only have so many ashtrays.
Quick question. When you're that's one of my issues. I have a small construction company as well. So I go through liners because I'm, outdoors, and in summertime, they're trash. I can go through a liner in 2 weeks. To repair them, I've been using a silicone glue. I don't like the way it's working though. What do you like to use?
I use, ours, the difference is our sleeves are pure silicone. So when you use a silicone RTV, over the counter silicone, it chemically bonds with our silicone. And so it's not a big patch, it's not gumpy, it's not goopy.
Right, mine is gumpy, yeah.
And it's none of that. It's super thin and super sheer, and you can't even notice it.
When are you going to put it on the market?
We're on the market now. We just launched this year, so I will.
And what's the name of the product again, please, sir?
We just call it a silicone suspension sleeve. We're not fancy. It's Amped Gear. Is the let me see. Where's the chat?
I didn't even know you could repair these sleeves.
Oh yeah, that's how I keep mine, because my prosthetist is about an hour away from me, hour and a half. And so I'm a kind of a do-it-myself guy. I ain't going to be waiting on you. And I didn't like the discomfort. So I just kind of sat down and figured out what's the best type of material I wanted to use to seal up these little micro tears I was getting. Because, I'm bending up and down all day long, bending that knee and getting on the ground. Oh, hold on, Casey. Hold on, Casey. There you go, Casey. You're back.
Here.
Right. So anyway, that's our ship in a tube.
Yeah, I'm asking my prosthetist to order it for me.
What's that?
I'm gonna get my guy to order it for me. I'm gonna use it instead. Yeah.
Just give him my email, because we get obviously the prosthetist gets a better price.
Copy that.
But he can just contact me right through the website. But
silicone.
So you patch them yourself. It's a whole, being a stunt man, I'm hitting the ground. I'm going to my knees all the time.
Right.
And so, like I did a movie in Hawaii for 2.5 months, and I just started using that system, and I think I brought 4 of those with me, and I just repaired them. Every couple of days I'd go through, I'd repair them, and then I always had whatever I needed on set.
Yeah.
If I hurt one, but I've come up, we kind of modified it. Our silicone's better. We have better chemical engineers, so we have a better silicone formula. But we figured out how to put nylon into it so it doesn't tear. So when you get a hole, you just get a hole, and it doesn't spread throughout the whole sleeve.
There you go. That's the thing. Now, my prosthetist today, the guy was telling me they're going to try to, until I can get the silicone one now, they're giving me one with a reinforced knee. And I guess it's a new Alps product where they've reinforced the knee specifically for active amputees that are bending and on their knees a lot and stuff like that. So I'll kind of let the people know how that works out for me.
Yeah. And those make, and they're much thicker though.
They're thick. Yeah, they're
which,
about
which makes it
4
hard
inch
to bend
thick.
your leg. Makes you get, you're in, I looked you up on your email. It says you're in 29 palms.
Yes, I'm in the
yeah, in the desert where it's hot. So ours are, I can't. Ours are.
That's what's down there.
Ours are less than a third of the thickness.
That's gonna be that, and that you can repair it yourself. Those are the game changers.
Yeah, but I love them. I've been wearing them for 15 years now.
Wow.
And I can't imagine life without it. And there's I don't know. That's like I said. There's there's all kinds of things happening all around. That make a huge difference in and that's why I saw your post and I'm like, oh, I want to go on that.
Absolutely.
We all need to communicate a whole lot more. I did one of the Liner Wand has a little podcast and I've been watching those and they had this guy from Scandinavia somewhere who's making a running foot that he sells directly to amputees for $2,000.
Wow, I haven't seen it.
And you can bolt it right onto a pyramid fitting. And it's like, these are the kind of things, it's like we as amputees, I think, need to take more control of what we have.
There you go. And what I learned is that your prosthetist, if you got the right one, they encourage you to do that. Because
exactly.
I'm always thinking of shit hits the fan situation. I got to know I can take care of my damn self because one day government may not be here. So I got to make sure I can fix my leg and know how to repair it and know how to get around on that sucker in case you can't get to the store no more. So fixing it yourself, I'm all about that. And now I'm actually learning more about the mechanics. My goal, now I got a buddy out here in the desert. He just passed away last year. But this old guy, Vietnam vet, he was making his own legs. So I want to get to that point. He could make his own leg from scratch. And I want to get to where he was. I want to be able to make sure I can build my leg in case this one breaks.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
Right.
That's for sure.
Now, what's next for you? What were you about to ask? And then I want to know what's next for you, Jay.
I was going to ask him his sleeve. Now, I'm using a direct socket. Can you use that with a direct socket?
What's a direct socket?
Well, they don't make a cast of your leg. They put the media directly over your leg with a vacuum apparatus, and they cast it directly onto your leg. But like my amputation is still pretty young, so my leg is still maturing.
Yeah.
It's still changing shape. I'm wearing 10 flies right now.
Yeah, in the first couple of years, you constantly change. So I also make we make a sleeve, but we also make a liner that's all silicone, that's custom molded to fit only your leg. It's not a roll on. You actually slide it on. And at that point, when you get a couple of years into it, then I like that because if you look, let's see if I can do this. But I have a sleeve. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I have a sleeve, and then I have nothing like below or my that rolls up over my knee other than that sleeve. And then my liner is actually cut right at the top of my socket.
Your liner
is here, and so there's nothing behind my knee other than that one really thin sleeve. And so it just, for me, it makes a much more comfortable fit throughout the day. Stays
that
cooler.
behind the knee thing, that behind the knee cushion is important.
So it definitely makes a huge, for me, it makes a huge difference in how well I run, because I'm not fighting two sleeves or a liner and a sleeve all that elasticity adds up when you're bending your leg.
Yeah.
And so all of that stuff kind of really changes how long you can do things as well. Like if you're like, even on a movie set, our days for a stuntman, we're doing 12-hour days.
Right.
And there's days that we're doing the same thing over and over, and they're super physical. And you got to have that longevity and that what's the word I'm looking for? Endurance.
Endurance.
Oh, endurance. Yeah. Well, those products, man, brilliant. And please put the links in the chat room if you're able. However, by the time I edit this and restream it, because I just take it to a little bit editing, I'll make sure I add it into the show's links. So it'll be a part of the show's links, the Amped Gear connection to the website.
Yeah, that's it.
And Casey, tell us what's up for you? How much longer are you going to be working?
Me as a stuntman?
No, I'm sorry, Casey. I'm sorry,
I'm Casey.
Jay.
This May I'll be at 13. I'm going to do 16 years as a state controller and be done. That'll put me at 61.
Okay.
And I'll be ready to.
And what's next for you?
I'm going to work on my British cars and do a little flying and play with my dogs.
Amen. I dig that. That's all right.
Exercise. I put on like 30 pounds after I got hit. I was in really good shape when I got hit, and
Yeah.
You get that lethargic. You put on weight really easy.
Sure. Well, you know what? Surprisingly, I did gain a little bit of weight, but then I went back to work. I didn't start my construction company until after I became an amputee.
Good on you.
Yeah, I didn't start until after. Didn't really know too much what I was going to do. I just knew that in my region, we're rapidly expanding. I had to get in on that market. So I started a construction company, and I love it. It's very fascinating work. I learn a lot. I surround myself with men that know a lot more than I do. I just know how to run the business. Yeah, but they know how to fix the stuff, right? And it's a tremendous thing, and I'm going to be doing it for quite a while. But now that I'm going to start this flying, this soaring, I'm really excited about that. And like I said, I go for my first lesson on the 26th.
You'll get hooked immediately.
Yeah. Well, they said it ain't gonna take too long before I got my license and I'm ready to roll. It's only a few weeks, really. I think it ain't too long. Yeah.
The soaring rating, I think, is like 15 or 20 hours.
I think you're 20 hours. Yes, sir. I think that's it. Yep. So so it ain't gonna take too long. I think they said a few weekends and you're done. So
now you're gonna be doing that in California, right?
That's right, sir. Out here in the desert. My lessons are in Palm Desert. Yeah, Palm Desert airfield down there.
I know where that is too.
Oh yeah.
I was a jarhead before I went in the Air Force.
Copy that. Oh, you were out here in 29?
Yeah.
Oh, roger that, man. Yeah, I'm right here down the street from the base. I worked on the base for 6 years.
Yeah, Delta Corridor. I got CS gas dropped on me several times. It was just a great time. I love it.
Fun times down here in 29. Yes, sir. I worked for a subcontractor to Tetlet, and we helped train, about 100,000 Marines over the time I was here for deployment to the Middle East. So I started working on the base, in the middle of that Iran conflict. And we left, now about 5 years ago now. Yeah, about 5 years ago. One of the best jobs I ever had was training them boys. One of the best jobs I ever had. All right, man. Well, guys, it's been one hell of a show. I want to thank you, men, for your input and for joining me tonight. You're going to affect the lives of many people. Let people know how they can reach you if you're so inclined. Each one take a second by email or your Instagram. I know a lot of people doing that Instagram and stuff. You gentlemen have anything like that you want to share?
I sent you my links.
Copy that.
Before, but yeah, I mean, email's always the best way. And
please state your email. I'm going to put it in the show, but please state it.
Casey@Peretti.com. It's my first name at my last name.com. And then my Instagram is Peretti_stunts.
Copy that. And Jay, anything for you, sir?
Yeah, if any amputees want to get in touch with me, my email is my initials JEH337 at hotmail.com. Be happy to talk to you.
And again, guys, we'll put that all in the show notes for you. I want to thank you, brothers, for joining me tonight, man. I'm gonna be seeing you up in the air, Jay, I guess. I'm gonna be one of those wild guys. You gotta say, man, bring that damn plane down here. Because I already know I'm gonna try to see how far I can fly that sucker. I heard, now you tell me if I'm wrong. They said if you catch them currents right, you can go all the way across the country.
Oh, you can fly it. You can fly it as long as you want. If you're talented, you can stay up as long as you want.
Wow.
So
wow. Well, I started reading the handbook too. I as soon as I saw that video, I downloaded the handbook. And so I'm starting to read it, and I'm learning about the all of the science behind how these suckers ride them wind currents. So I'm gonna educate myself. I really am enjoying it.
Yeah, there's an ascent whistle, okay, that measures the climb of the glider, okay, and you'll start hearing that in your sleep after a couple hours, whether you're descending, whether you're climbing.
Well, I'm gonna post a video of my first lesson, and I'll make sure I tag you in it so you can see it.
All right, wear some dark pants.
You said dark pants.
Yeah.
Copy that. All right, man. All right, guys, we wrapping up for tonight. I want to thank everybody. Men, thanks a lot. You guys stop on by anytime, and I'm gonna tag you each, and you'll each get a copy of this in your email and on your pages. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Man.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, guys. All right. So, folks, that was one hell of a show, wasn't it? Wowzers, wowzers. Two fine men that we had an opportunity to interact with. I was looking for Chef T tonight. I didn't see her in the room, and I talked with her before, or we texted each other today. So I did anticipate her checking in through the StreamYard, but she'll be, I'm sure, back with us next week on the show. So about joining that workforce, guys, what these men were telling us is that it's up to you. You got to have that fortitude. And as Casey said, that endurance, that same endurance that he has on the set every day, you got to have that endurance in life. So we want to encourage you, if you're able, get out that chair. Some of you may not be able to, but that doesn't mean that you can't live a life. That does not mean that you may have to redefine what you want to do. If you're in a wheelchair and you want to be a tap dancer, okay, that shit ain't gonna happen. You're gonna have to accept that. But then think about, if your passion really is tap dancing, maybe you'll become a tap dance journalist and you cover the tap dancers and become the greatest historical writer of tap dancing. Maybe that's what you'll be able to do from your chair. Maybe you'll become a tap dancing judge. Maybe you will coordinate a tap dancing competition in your community. You see, there's always a way. You just have to really want to do it. And so ask yourself, do I really want it? Or am I just bullshitting myself? Am I blaming my lack of trying on a missing limb or limbs? Nothing stops you but you. We'll see you next week.